a person's strengths are often their biggest weaknesses. And so that also means that their weaknesses can be their strengths.
God, he uses pain to simply break walls down in your life. The only way you can receive the blessing he has for you is he's got to knock some walls down, and he's got to build your capacity. And the only way he can build your capacity is he has to challenge it.
I am weak, but I don't accept that. I don't accept that I am what I am and that is what I'm doomed to be. I'm always fighting, I'm struggling, and I'm scrapping, and I'm kicking and clawing at those weaknesses to change them, to stop them.
There are times in life when conflicts and trouble arise. How we deal with these conflicts and how we deal with these troubles reveals more about our character than we want to admit. Because what you are when the pressure is on is what you really are.
Because many of you are going, God, just stop the pain. God, just stop the trial. God, just stop the tribulations. God, just get rid of the pain. And I'm not making light out of your pain. I'm not sitting up here calling you immature or calling you weak. I'm just saying, what if there's a better prayer? What if the better prayer is, God, make me stronger. God, make me bigger. God, build my capacity. I want to be capable to carry everything that you have for me.
Some days I win. Some days I don't. But each and every day, I get back up and I move forward with my fist clenched toward the struggle. And I fight with everything I've got to overcome those weaknesses and those shortfalls and those flaws as I strive to be just a little bit better today than I was yesterday.
As long as there's people, there's going to be conflict, disagreements, contention, dissension. Family reunion would be really nice if you didn't have to deal with your family. But everywhere there's people, there's going to be strife. There's going to be conflict. There's going to be trouble, because that's just the way it is.
The enemy works overtime trying to devalue us. He'd love for you to go through life letting what people say make you feel inferior, comparing your life to somebody else's, thinking you'll feel good about yourself when you catch up to them. But nothing you do will make you any more valuable. Nothing you achieve, nothing you overcome. You are valuable right now. You are one of a kind. You didn't come off an assembly line. God made you unique. There will never be another you. Put your shoulders back. Start carrying yourself with confidence. You have been fearfully and wonderfully made. We all have things that we're believing for. A dream to come to pass, problems to turn around. At one time, we knew it was going to happen. We stood in faith, but when it's been a long time, we don't see anything improving. It's easy to get discouraged and think that it wasn't meant to be. The delays, the detours, the disappointments didn't stop God's plan. What he started in your life, he's going to finish.
Let me tell you some of the stuff you've been through. Don't pay it any attention. It is just a sign that the baby is coming. You're on the verge of birthing. You're about to give birth. I don't care whether you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. There's something down inside of you that's still kicking inside of you that wants to get out and it wants to live.
The scripture says the wise man built his house on a rock. The foolish man built his house on the sand. And when the storm came, the wise man's house stood strong and the foolish man's house collapsed. The thing about the story that's the most interesting thing to me is that wisdom could not prevent the storm. That both men had to go through it. Yet one man had a different value system. One man had already predetermined his foundation. One man already had a reaction plan.
Get up, change your position. And listen, if you can't stand up, look up. Just change your position. Start writing as though you're already up. Start planning as though you're already up. Start acting as though you're already up. Get up in your believing. Get up in your hopes. Get up in your aspirations.
It's necessary you take responsibility for it, that you make it happen, that you don't give up, that you keep on keeping on, that you don't decide that I can't make it because you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, that you realize that's a part of the program. And here's something you've got to resolve. Say this to yourself every day. See, as long as you're breathing, you got a shot at your dream. That's the way I resolve. Say this, please. It's not over until I win. You got that right.
Start doing everything that you can, because remember, the areas of your focus are the areas of your reward, and the areas of your neglect are the areas of your pain.
I want you to get some determination. I want you to put your shoulders back. I want you to put your feet down. I want you to understand that you can't choose what happens to you in life, but you always get to choose how you respond to what happens to you in life. I'm telling you, life is 10% what happens. It's really 90% how you react. You need to predetermine now your reactions, because it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Storms will come.
We have to learn patience. Patience is a virtue. Patience is the ability to wait with the right attitude. Because you're going to wait one way or another. The question is, will you be patient while you wait? And will you choose the right spirit in all seasons?
It may seem like what you're believing for could never come to pass. It's too late. The odds are against you. God is saying your time is coming. He has seen the lonely nights. He's seen the unfair situations, the times you're doing the right thing and not getting the credit. Voices whisper, it will never change. Don't believe those lies. Healing is coming. Freedom is coming. God has already put it on the schedule. The date has already been ordained.
When change is involved, somehow we get into this thing where we're kind of waiting for somebody else to do it. We're waiting on someone else to arrive. I mean, we've got to stop that. We got to stop waiting for someone to change before you change. You got to stop waiting for somebody to help you change.
You've got to weigh before you pay. Whether you're going to spend heavy time or light time, you've just got to weigh. Otherwise, if you're not careful, you can get trapped into spending heavyweight time with lightweight people. Now, it's okay to have casual friends as long as you give them casual time, not serious time. Spend major time with major influence and minor time with minor influence. So maybe all you need to do to change some of the influences in your life is not to eliminate them, but merely limit them. Take a look at your priorities and your values. We have so little time at our disposal. Wouldn't it make sense to invest it wisely?
If you can teach people to stand up in the face of the things they're afraid of, they get stronger. And you don't know what the upper limits to that are, because you might ask yourself, like, if for 10 years, if you didn't avoid doing what you knew you needed to do, what would you be like? Well, you know, there are remarkable people who come into the world from time to time, and there are people who do find out over decades-long periods what they could be like if they were who they were, if they spoke their being forward. And they get stronger and stronger and stronger, and we don't know the limits to that. We do not know the limits to that.
You must determine whether the situation and the people call for disassociation or limited association. But remember, if it isn't taking you where you want to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, now is the time to fix it.
And so if your life isn't everything it could be, you could ask yourself, well, what would happen if you just stopped wasting the opportunities that are in front of you? You'd be who knows how much more efficient, 10 times more efficient, 20 times more efficient. You have no idea how efficient people get. Well, and if we all got our act together collectively and stopped making things worse, because that's another thing people do all the time, if people stop really trying just to make things worse, we have no idea how much better they would get just because of that.
What we think about is really what controls us. This is a control tower, that everything else is a result of how we think. And we can't control everybody else in control of all of our circumstances, but we are going to respond to circumstances in one way or the other. And so what you have to ask is this: what is it that determines what I think? This mind of yours controls everything else in your life.
Are you satisfied with your life as it is? Are you? Is your life giving you what you want? If you had your life to live over again, could you have done more than what you've done thus far? When I ask audiences that, most people agree, yes, I could have done more. I know I could have done more. I've wasted a lot of valuable time. You're going to lose something, lose money. You can recapture that. Don't lose time. You can't get that back.
But I think being grateful probably is number one. If you've got a job, you got to be grateful. Say, this isn't the greatest job in the world. Even if it's a transitional job getting you where you want to go, you got to be grateful. You don't have to love your job or be passionate about your job. Just passionate about staying steady, working hard, learning skills, doing this job so well that the next one will be even better, and taking such good care of this opportunity, another one will present itself.
What's next for me? After all of this, I don't think that things just happen. I believe that they happen just. We have a mindset. We don't want to be the same coming out of this. That you want some radical change. That this could be a major defining moment for you. A day that turns your life around.
If you have an extreme desire to wish to be successful, so you can accomplish all you wish to accomplish, be as generous as you'd like to be as strong as you'd like to be. And I think if you say you have to find your passion, people find that a little bit confusing. Where would I find it, and what could I be passionate about? I guess you could start with saying, I'm passionate about providing unusual success for myself and for my family. Then I think the key is to let what you want to accomplish, let that grow. Where at first this is as far as you can see, but if you'll do that, you could say, wow, maybe I could multiply by 2, by 3, and expand my vision, accomplish a lot more.
At the end of your feelings is nothing, but at the end of every principle is a promise. Behind your little feelings, it might not be absolutely nothing at the end of your little feelings, but behind every principle is a promise. And some of you in your life, the reason why you're not at your goal right now is you just all about your feelings. You all on your feelings. You don't feel like waking up. So who does? Every day you say no to your dreams, you might be pushing your dreams back a whole 6 months, a whole year. That one single day, that one day you didn't get up could have pushed your stuff back I don't know how long.
Wonder what would happen to your life. Now think about it a minute. There's a lot of things you could take from me and I could make it. You could take my suit, I got another one. You could take my car, I could get another one. You could take my house, I could get another house. But when you take my time, you have taken something from me that is totally irreplaceable. We take all kind of classes from money management. We know how to manage our money. We know how to repair our houses. We're working on our hair and our bodies and all of this kind of stuff. We do everything except the most important thing is to value our time. It takes time to be creative. If you had time, you would be creative. But in the absence of time and with busyness and clutter and the phone ring, you all got music playing on your phone, all kinds of stuff. And no matter what kind of song you put on it, after a while you hate to hear it, because every time you hear that sound, you know it's somebody else wanting something else from you that's taking you away from what you are gifted and created.
If you want to make your dream become reality, the people that are running at their dreams know that it's possible that you can live your dream, that it's necessary, that you're relentless, that you have a plan of action, that you are creative. The people that are living their dream are finding winners to attach themselves to. The people that are living their dreams are the people that know that if it's going to happen, it's up to them. And they're resolving within themselves, it's not over until I win. The people that are running after their dream know they're going to have hard times. They keep on running because they're saying within themselves, I'm the one. No matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. The people that are running after their dreams are the people that are hungry.
Hunger is the ultimate driver. Because if you're hungry, you can get the strategy, you can get the answer. If you can't model it, you can find it.
Motivation gets you going. Discipline, commitment, strong habits is what gets things done. Commit once. You don't need to commit more than once. You commit once to the thing that you're going to do, and then you do it every single day. That everyday method is one of the most powerful methods for reconstructing your entire life.
When you perceive choice, you perceive motivation. You're more motivated. So the deal is, for yourself, sit back and reflect, be mindful of the choices you have, and talk about being a success seeker rather than a failure avoider. It's all how you talk, how you communicate to yourself and to others.
You just can't turn on passion. You can't just turn on the desire to execute a task. It just doesn't work that way. And honestly, that isn't even what motivate means. To motivate actually means to provide a motive, a reason why.
When you have a thing that is pulling you through because you're legitimately excited about it, that's when things start to happen. So I find that a lot of times lack of motivation has to do with not structuring your life in a way where you actually care about the outcome. So find that thing, stop judging yourself, because I think everybody at least sees a flicker of interest inside of them, something that they really find interesting and they want to at least explore deeper.
Always go to something bigger than yourself. I'm wondering if you've been defeated because you have been giving yourself wholly to something that was too small to hold you. Have you thrust yourself into a glass of water?
Yes, sir.
Have you leaped off the diving board into a cereal bowl person? Are you not guilty of immersing yourself into things that were too small to hold your vision? My problem is so many times you've thrown big ideas at small people. You've given big commitment to cereal bowl people. And you're trying to get your sight back from a source that's too small to support what you're willing to put in. Is your investment bigger than the bank? You should see the way you're looking at me. Is the reason you keep being disappointed by people is that you have wholly thrown yourself into something that was too small?
Don't let that happen. Get aggressive, be vigilant, attack, and destroy the weakness in your head. Go. Everybody wants to do work when they're feeling strong and they're feeling refreshed. But what's more important is when you actually do the work when you're feeling tired and feeling weak and feeling lazy. When you have those feelings, it's even more important to step up and get some.
There are areas within myself where I cannot compromise. I have to hold the line. I am going to work hard. I am going to train hard. I am going to improve myself. I am not going to rest on my laurels. I'm going to own my mistakes and confront them. I am going to face my demons.
I'm not going to give up or give out or give in. I am going to stand. I am going to maintain my self-discipline. There will be no compromise. Not now, not ever.
Turn your wounds into wisdom. You will be wounded many times in your life. You'll make mistakes. Some people will call them failures. But I have learned that failure is really God's way of saying, excuse me, you're moving in the wrong direction.
Real work is to figure out where your power base is and to work on the alignment of your personality, your gifts that you have to give with the real reason why you're here. That's the number one thing you have to do, is to work on yourself and to fill yourself up and keep your cup full. Keep yourself full. Now, I used to be afraid of that. I used to be afraid, particularly from people who say, oh, she's so full of herself. She's so full of herself. And now I embrace it. I consider it a compliment that I am full of myself. Because only when you're full, I'm full, I'm overflowing, my cup runneth over. I have so much to offer and so much to give. And I am not afraid of honoring myself. You know, it's miraculous when you think about it.
We are busier than any other generation we have seen in the last 300 to 400 years. We are so busy. We are busier than a one-arm wallpaper hanger. We're just busy. You'll get it later. Don't worry about it. It'll hit you in a minute. We are just as busy as we can be, and we think because we're busy, we're effective. But I want you to challenge your schedule for a minute and ask yourself, are you really being effective? Or is your life cluttered with all kinds of stuff that demands you and drains you and taxes you and stops you from being your highest and best self? And are you substituting busyness and all the chaos that goes along with busyness from being effective? Let me tell you, a bunch of scientists got together, they began to do some research, and they begin to determine that 80% of the things we do are busy things that we do in an area that is not effective, that the average person only spends 20% of their time doing the thing that they are really gifted at, created at, passionate about, excited to do. And the rest of it is all the dismal, dumb stuff that we all have to do in order to survive. Just crazy stuff that we're doing. Wonder what would happen if we would go from doing 80% of things that are busy but not effective and 20% of the things that are really effective if we would switch those numbers around and only give 20% of our time to the things that we have to do and 80% of our time to the thing that we were created to do.
And when you need motivation yourself, don't look for someone to scream and yell. Don't look for someone else to give you motivation. Look at yourself and remind yourself why you are doing what you are doing. Remind yourself that this struggle, this temporary pain, this fight that you're in, this is what will make you stronger and faster and smarter and better.
Don't be upset by the results you didn't get from the work you did not do. I don't want you to be upset. I don't want you to be angry. I want you to be like, I didn't get the result because I didn't do the work. I didn't show up on time. I didn't do what I said I was gonna do. I hit the snooze button. I made an excuse. I didn't make adjustments. I'm tired of people talking about, I wanna be successful. I wanna be great. Look, everybody wants to be a beast. And so it's time to do what real beasts do. And let me tell you something, that means getting up early, going to bed late. That means you don't go to sleep when you're tired, you go when you're done.
If you just decide, I'm going to keep my word. If I say something, I'm going to do it regardless. Being more disciplined. Find something that you can look at your life that you say, hey, I know I've got a problem in this area, being late, procrastinating, not taking care of business, being seriously not serious. I need to deal with that.
I guarantee you, if you're wondering why it is that everybody else has this and that and this, and why you don't have, I guarantee you that if you take an inventory of your actions, they equal what you're getting, period. If you do the work consistently, if you invest in yourself consistently, 10 years of motherfucking work when everybody else is partying, making excuses, doing the cool thing on the weekend, is gonna pay off.
Is there a barrier? Is there a reason people don't like you? What's the blockage? Could there be something that stops you from suffering long, seeking not your own? When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child, and I thought as a child. But I put away childish things. I put away childish things.
Be a man, own up. Now, you gotta wait and see what God got for you. I always wanted a Super Bowl commercial. He gave me all of that, increased my global persona. We now have villas, free villas that we can go to, 8-bedroom villas. I can come for a month. You gotta work through the adversity. When adversity hits y'all and it's coming, remember there's a lesson and a blessing. Quit asking God to make your life easy, because he ain't gonna do that.
Eyesight and mindsight. Eyesight is judging on what you see. Mindsight is how you interpret what you see. One guy said, it's not possible, it's over, I'm finished. He surrendered. But this other guy, he felt that in spite of the no's and rejections, in spite of how bad the economy is, that it's possible that somebody somewhere, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's what we have to do with our dreams.
What a shame if Joseph would have spent those years discouraged, worried, frustrated. What God promised you is going to come to pass. The dream he put in your heart is already on the schedule. The question is, how are you going to spend the time while you're waiting? Looking back in regrets, upset, looking forward, wondering why it's not happening? No, stay in the present. Take it one day at a time. You don't have grace for tomorrow. If you're trying to figure out the next 20 years, you're going to be frustrated. You have grace for this day. When you get to tomorrow, there'll be grace for that day. But Joel, I'm worried because I don't see how my situation could ever work out. You're not supposed to. This is what faith is all about. You have to trust that God is in control, that He's planned out all of your days, that He knows what's best for you. Instead of fighting where you are, learn to embrace where you are. That's what Joseph did. It wasn't comfortable. He didn't like it, but he embraced it, believing that God was ordering his steps. I don't want you to get 10 years down the road, think, man, if I'd known it's going to turn out this good, I would have enjoyed my life. I would have spent more time with my family. I would have enjoyed raising my children. I talked to a lady. She had worked as an executive, very successful for this large company. She had been there 19 years when she was unexpectedly let go. It wasn't any kind of wrongdoing. The company was just restructuring and didn't need her. She was disappointed, but she knew something else would open up. She has 2 master's degrees. She's very experienced, very personable, a leader in her field. She applied to company after company, even in different states, but no response. No one was interested. She couldn't understand it. A couple of months after she lost her job, her mother became ill, needed someone to take care of her. She decided that she would do it while she was looking for a job. Every day she would go to her mother's house. They would visit and run errands. Her mother came to her house and helped her fix it up. She had so much fun with her mother, made so many great memories. 10 months later, her mother passed. 3 days after she laid her mother to rest, she started getting one phone call after another from companies she had applied to months and months before. Not one offer, but 4 great offers came in. She accepted a position with more responsibility, more income, better environment. She said, it's a position that I enjoy much more than my previous job. Look at how God works. That closed door, the company unexpectedly letting her go, seemed like a bad break. That wasn't fair. Another position not opening up with all of her credentials, all of her experience, education, that doesn't make sense. She could have been sour, lived upset. Why is this happening? But she made this choice to not live in the past, not let the disappointment steal her joy, to not live in the future. I won't anything open up. What if I can't find a job? Instead, she took that time to enjoy where God had her. She made the most of each day. She embraced where she was, believing that God was directing her steps. Had she not done that, she would have missed that time with her mother. Had she lived stressed out, she wouldn't have those memories that she'll forever cherish. Don't fight where you are, embrace where you are. Make the most of each day. Yes, she needed a job, but don't get so focused on the future that you miss the beauty of this day. Yes, she was disappointed that she was let go, but don't let the past keep you from seeing the good things in your life right now. God is ordering your steps. Sometimes we don't understand. It's not comfortable, but like with Joseph, all the disappointments, delays, betrayals, they were a part of God's plan to get him to the throne. God is going to get you to your destiny. He's going to work out all things for your good. While you're waiting, when you don't see anything happening, things aren't turning around, trust him enough to enjoy your life. See the good in each day. Be grateful for what you have. The song says, it's a beautiful day. Don't let it get away. Once we live this day, we can't get it back. Are you living it in tomorrow, focused only on your dreams? Are you living it in yesterday, focused on what didn't work out? When all the while, God has you at this place for a reason. There's a blessing in disguise. There's someone you can connect with. There's a test that you can pass. If Joseph would have been bitter, he would have never helped the butler. The butler is the one that helped open that door for him. And the scripture says to make the most of this day. Doesn't say make the most of yesterday, make the most of tomorrow. What are you doing with today? Are you embracing where you are, or are you fighting where you are? Are you present and connected, or are you present and disengaged? When life called the roll today, did you show up passionate, enjoying your family, looking forward to another great day? Joel, I would, but man, I've had disappointments. These people did me wrong. My dream hasn't worked out. How do you know that's not leading you to your destiny? God is ordering your steps. It may not be good, but he wouldn't have allowed it if it was going to stop your purpose. Don't get 20 years down the road and see it all come together and have to say, wow, I spent so much of my life worried, not enjoying my family, mad at the people that did me wrong. Let it go. It's all a part of the process. These are tests we have to pass. We can get to our destination enjoying the journey, seeing God's favor despite the opposition, or we can get there worried, sour, upset. I'm asking you to live in the present, one day at a time. Yes, it's good to have goals. Keep your vision in front of you, but don't let what hasn't happened frustrate you. Make up your mind you're going to enjoy each day. Enjoy your family. Enjoy the people you work with. Enjoy the beauty of creation. Take time to smell the roses. All through the day, it's good to take a few deep breaths and just breathe in God's goodness. Breathe in where you are. Not trying to rush through this part of the day and get to the next, but take time to enjoy the present. One thing this pandemic has done is helped us to have a new perspective. Sometimes we would complain about normal. I don't want to go to work, get these kids ready for school, drive in the traffic, cook dinner, have to clean up. But when the pandemic shut everything down month after month and we couldn't go to work, couldn't send our kids to school, couldn't leave the house, now normal looks pretty good. Sometimes when something is taken away and you get it back, you tend to appreciate it more. Maybe that job we didn't like wasn't so bad. Maybe the traffic doesn't have to frustrate us. Maybe that person at work that used to get on our nerves, believe it or not, we're looking forward to seeing the man. We have a new perspective. We're alive. We have breath to breathe. We had strength to get out of bed. We have family to love. We have a place to live. We have peace in our mind. We have the favor of God. When you realize this day is a gift, then you'll live it to the full. Not depending on your past, not based on your future, but you will say like David, this is the day the Lord has made. I'm not going to just drag through it. I'm going to be glad in it. Not just going to be present. I'm going to be connected. I'm going to make the most of it. If you'll do this, I believe and declare you're going to have better relationships. You're going to have more joy and fulfillment. Like with Joseph, negative situations are about to turn around. Promotion is coming. Vindication, healing, breakthroughs, the fullness of your destiny.
And you should understand this, that it was always going to be your family and your friends that would be the first ones to try and talk you out of your vision and your big idea. That's why you're supposed to live your life. Focus on your intentions and do your thing.
A lot of people put success on this mountaintop and they say, I'll feel successful when I get here, when I make this amount of money, when I find this person, right? And a lot of people don't understand that success is all around them right now.
That I've decided a long time ago that I didn't want to be another man who lived and died and didn't do anything significant. There's so many of y'all that are running around that are connecting whatever your concept of what life and love and happiness is to this thing that doesn't exist. And so in your mind, you're not living until you get to that.
Therefore, becoming is not about arrival, it's about the journey. We're committing to the journey. We're committing to the process. That's good news, because you might be in this room and you might be older in years and you might be thinking to yourself, man, my best days are behind me. Because I believe that, what that tells me is that while I'm becoming, I'm going to face problems. Our problems do not overshadow our purpose. Our weaknesses do not discount our work, and our deficiencies definitely do not delay our destiny.
The lesson of letting go is not only that external events cause us to let go, the way God changes us is transformation from the inside out. Isn't that really relevant while you're stuck inside?
You gotta grow, you gotta expand, you gotta know that you're here for a purpose. There are no mistakes. There is a meaning. Even if you haven't found it yet, you must discover it.
It first starts with decision on your part. And may I add, well, you should decide. Why let worry continue to take money out of your pocket and bank account? Why let worry any longer keep you from becoming all you can be? Why let it rob you of better friendship, better family relations, better profits, better results? It's a burden you can get rid of. Why not be rid of those sinking, nagging feelings that all is not going to be well, that you can't do it, that it won't work out for the best? Worry is undue concern that takes up too much of your mental and emotional time.
And you know what? For most people, they don't discover the meaning of their life until their life is over, or until somebody very close to them that they love is about to leave them. You don't have to wait for the pain to discover the meaning.
And so although you may believe it to be true about you, these doubts and negative thoughts you have, these were not your original thoughts. That's a powerful thing to understand, because you weren't born this way. You weren't born doubting. You were born perfect. You were born believing you were going to do something great. You were born believing you were going to do something special with your life. As a baby, I promise you, you had no negative self-talk. You had no negative self-doubt. These are external sources. There's somebody else's thoughts they gave you because of how they felt about themselves.
If you're offering words of wisdom to someone in the genuine attempt to help and they treat that with contempt, then shut up, because you're demeaning your words by throwing them away.
Self-confidence is self-trust. Self-confidence is building a reputation with yourself, that you keep your word to you, that you keep the promises you make to you. Somebody with self-confidence has a reputation with themselves that I do the things I say I'm going to do. And so the cool thing is, self-confidence is an internal game. You do not need external accolades, external admiration in order to build self-confidence. You don't need any of those external forces. It's all done internally. You control this. And you control this by beginning today to keep the promises you make to yourself. It's not good enough just to keep the promises you make to yourself. You must acknowledge it when you do it to you to give yourself credit to create confidence momentum.
Expect the constituents and the comrades to leave you and desert you after a while. Don't be upset when they don't react to your dream the way you expected them to, because they were never really with you in the first place. Success breeds contempt. You'll know you're winning when they start hating you.
Because if you're not facing resistance, maybe it's an indication that you're going in the same direction as your enemy.
If nobody's hating you over it, it's not big enough. You'll know it's big enough when they start hating you for it. And nothing you do satisfies them. And nothing you do calms them down. That's a sign that you're getting ready to get in a net-breaking blessing.
You see, writing about events and circumstances that occur helps you to clarify exactly what is happening. When we describe life to ourselves only in our minds, our imaginations tend to feed false or distorted information about how things are, positive or negative. When we describe a situation in writing, however, we become more factual, more accurate, and certainly more realistic. Then, as we reread what we have written, we create a new picture in our minds to replace the distorted picture we have been working with. And once we finally see things as they are, rather than as we think they are, we can then see our way clear to make them better. As you begin to develop the habit of writing down your problems, recording your observations, emotions, and reactions to life's events, you will undoubtedly find yourself both posing and responding to a whole new set of questions about your past, present, and future. Why did I say that? Why does he always make me feel that way? If I follow this course, where will I be 5 years from now? As you begin to both ask and answer yourself on paper, you will be amazed at the incredible leaps in personal understanding and self-awareness you will experience. And remember, any positive change which occurs within you will ultimately manifest itself in a positive result outside of you, in your social or professional world, your attitude, your bank account, your habits, and even your appearance. Writing in your journal is one of the best ways I know of to develop more effective communication skills. As you become better at describing life to yourself, you will find that you become better at describing yourself to life. Put into more practical terms, as you become better at saying what you really want and how you really feel to yourself, you will be able to better express yourself and your feelings to others, and in return, better able to understand what others are really feeling and really saying to you.
Do you define yourself by your emotions? Do you define yourself by your status? Do you define yourself by your lowest point? Do you define yourself by your highest achievement? All of that is dangerous. Because the moment you start believing that you are what you do or you are what you went through, there's a bleeding on the inside that happens when your sense of self-worth flows from what you do and what you go through.
Write about a current dilemma you are facing. Perhaps it is a personal problem, a business matter, a family issue, or a financial problem. Whatever it is, take the time to capture it on paper the way it really is. But remember, writing out the problem is only the first step to creative problem solving and effective decision making. The next step is to carefully analyze what you have written. Here are some of the key things to look for. First, exaggerations or distortions of the truth. Are you really telling it like it is? Take another look. Perhaps your concern is making it seem worse than it is, or your enthusiasm is making it seem better than it is. Second, a tendency to blame circumstances or someone else for your problem instead of seeing yourself as the cause. You see, most of our difficulties are the result of either failing to do what we could have done, or in doing in haste what we should never have done. Third, a tendency to expect circumstances, or still worse, other people to change in order for your problem to be solved. Let me remind you one more time that things get better when you get better.
Passive hope never has and never will improve human circumstances. And finally, look closely for weak points in the obstacle where you might attack to bring that obstacle to its knees. It usually doesn't take much more than a few minor adjustments in either our attitude or our action plan to solve a major problem. Essentially, you must learn to view your problems like a scientist who puts tiny organisms on a slide. Examine your circumstances through the lens of the microscope of truth to see their real nature, their real perimeters, and their real composition. And two, as you examine your problem, do as any scientist would do, record your observations. You see, as you continue to refine your statement of the problem, of the way it really is, you will begin to move closer to the solution. And speaking of solutions, be sure to record the ultimate conclusion to your dilemma. If it worked well, then it is worth remembering. And if it didn't work well, as you had hoped it would, then it is even more essential to record the outcome, lest you should find yourself repeating mistakes instead of learning from them. Mistakes in judgment are nothing to be ashamed of. Surely most of our personal growth comes as a result of our errors. But what is truly unforgivable is to make the same mistake twice. Every mistake has its own price tag, but the most costly error anyone can make is an error unlearned and often repeated. If something didn't work, it may be too late to undo the mistake, but it's never too late to make adjustments and revisions in your thinking. As step one for getting used to using your journal, then, I would suggest writing down problems that you encounter and recording all the steps you can take or did take to solve them, as well as their eventual outcomes.